Okay, so I figured maybe this is just a little bit easier. I'm just gonna watch a replay and then talk about what's going on. Um, so yeah, let's just do that. Let's see what's going on. So I did watch this video in entirety. So we'll kind of talk about this real quick. Um, so kind of one nitpicky thing I realized that you really didn't do all that much this game was you're gonna see you open up the tab button maybe twice over the course of this 37-minute game. So we're not going to watch the whole 37 minutes, but um, very little opening the tab button. So there's going to be some things that I miss because we have this, your camera over your mini map. So unless you're worried about people ghosting, just kind of put in the camera right in between here would be easier for, watching replays. But as long as there's things on the map that you can see, that's fine. So one thing I notice already is the minions are already top lane, which means the minions are already in your lane. And then it's really important for us to think about what like a consistently good decision is and what is a opportunistic decision. So right now we want to be in lane pushing. We're against Zoe Jin. Um, Leona is really only going to have so many opportunities to essentially play aggressive in this matchup. One of them is going to be early if she's able to get a level advantage. And what you're going to see is that never really happens. And then Leona's engages for the entirety of the game are really, really bad. Um, so the consistently good decision for you to make would be to go to lane right now. Obviously, I can't see lane, but go to lane right now and start pushing the wave, or at least matching Jin's push so you can hit level 2 first. Um, what happens though instead is obviously somebody's pinging that he's here, and we happen to go here, and now we're really wasting time. So we've now missed XP in lane. We end up going back again. So essentially, our win condition for lane is to push the lane, get a level 2, get a little bit of an XP advantage, chunk them out a little bit, and then the lane becomes infinitely easier. But instead, we're fixated on this. The other team picks it, so pings it. I mean, now right here, now we need to know. So now we're lower HP than they're going to be. We're going to be down a level most likely, and Leona no longer has Ignite. So our kill threat in this lane is very low now. And they're two ranged champions, one of them being an off meta pick, so they're going to be able to chunk the hell out of us. And now that they have a little bit of pressure in terms of level lead, you can see how much XP we lost because Jin's going to hit level 2 long before us. This is also another opportunity where these players aren't going to play perfect, right? They're iron, so you could be getting punished so much more than you are. But they're not that good, so they're not going to punish you as much as they could be. But if this was like a higher ranked game, you'd be getting punished way more for doing what you did and coming to lane late. Because yeah, it's cool that you got a kill, but you're also out of pots already. And the fact that you have gold in the bank from the early kill and assist that you got means nothing because you don't have those items yet, right? So we're not really any stronger. So now they're able to push this wave. So essentially, this would have been if we're pushing here and the wave's over here, that's like our chance to level 2 them, but now everybody's level 2 at the same time. So Leona's window of opportunity, especially being down Ignite, is non-existent, right? And then because that, Leona's really not going to have that many good opportunities to be aggressive. So we're just going to watch the wave. We're not going to worry about like, the last hits and stuff like that. Everything's doing fine. Yeah, Leona's not going to get a lot of good opportunities to engage in this lane, especially with not having Ignite. And so this is another thing with the whole opening up tab. I would have loved if at some point in this lane, prior to the, I think 11-minute mark is when you finally open the tab. to uh, at some point check like what her ignite timer is and to ping it. And the reason why you ping it is so that she knows that's most likely when we can start playing aggressive again, right? So like this person's also in iron and probably doesn't play as much as you do. Usually, you have to assume everybody on your team is not as good as you are, right? Regardless of the rank, whether you're diamond or you're iron, doesn't matter. When you're in a game, you should think I am the person that's going to carry this game, and everybody else on my team is dumb, right? Not as good as me. So Leona engaging here. Okay, she didn't engage yet. So now this is. So objectively, you kind of look at this and you think, oh, well, this is good now for us, right? Um, but it's not. So because we weren't able to do the level 2 play and kind of chunk them out in a trade here much earlier, now we're in a position where we're so close to their turret. Leona, once she's iron, so she's gonna want to go in. Every Leona wants to go in, whether they're iron or they're gold or platinum. But now she can't because they're too close to the turret. So the kill threat is almost non-existent, right? So pushing's fine, but now we're giving, and you're going to do this a lot during this game. We're pushing in a position where Leona can't engage, can't do anything, but Zoe is able to get perfect ease off over the wall, like sleepers over the wall consistently. And this is going to be a common thing that happens in this lane is just Zoe, we're pushing in a position where now Leona's useless, but Zoe is in like her element where she can really start chunking things out. There we go. We get chunked there. I think we back here, which is fine. This back was fine. I think the first time I watched this, I'll be like, oh, this back's not great. I think the back ends up not being great because you spend so long here. I don't mind the boots pickup, but I probably, if I were you, I would have grabbed a coal and a longsword. Not even bought boots. I would have bought like pots or fillable, and I would have just gone back to lane. And the reason I would have done that is because this Cole is just going to be better overall because you're a scaling champ, right? So like you and Jin are not necessarily strong champs early. He's stronger than you though, in terms of just having his fourth shot and the CC setup. He's stronger than you, right? So if they decide to focus you in lane, you're just going to die. Um, so this should in theory be a farming lane for us. So you scale better late game. So prioritize items that are going to help you, scale better. So I would have gone coal, longsword, or even coal boots would have been better in my opinion. Just a preference, but I like to scale and I like money. So therefore I would have always gone coal in that situation. Even though boots 2 is good, I just wouldn't have done that. So um, I don't know why we were in base so long, but I'm not gonna focus on it too much. Um, so yeah, not really sure why that took us so long. So come back to lane. This is the worst Leona engage, and this is so one concept I was gonna kind of chat with you about, and I think the next like full minute is just catastrophically bad for us, right? So, um, and I'm gonna explain why it's so bad. So first off, this is a bad engage, and there's something in League of Legends called emotional decision making. So it's not necessarily oh I'm like sad, but emotional decision making is just making decisions based on either feeling compelled to help people make bad plays, like oh I'll follow up on their bad play, or just forcing a situation that's lost and desperately trying to make it like a one for one, making almost like a frustration play or following up on a bad play. So this for her is awful. You should just be last hitting. You shouldn't even entertain this. She full comboed him and he's still almost full health. Like there's no chance. And there's no chance Zoe's not here. There's just never this is never a kill here. You shouldn't even be looking here. I know we were talking about how like looking around the map a little bit better. She's no man's land. You're down a level. I think her ignite's up by now, but like we don't know where Zoe is. Clearly, she was just sitting in the brush. This is like the worst play this Leona could be making, and then we lose a lot of CS trying to force it, right? So she got baited because Mordekaiser was coming. Like I'm pretty sure he's coming down the river right now. Obviously, I can't see it, but based on what happens next, he's coming down the river. That doesn't make the play good. And again, League is all about making consistently good plays. This was a bad play the entire time that Leona's making. And then we ended up losing, I think it was like at least 3 CS here. And then we're going to continue. We're going to end up losing like between 10 and 15 CS of minions over the course of the next like minute and a half because of what your teammates are doing and you kind of feeling compelled to help them out. So now this is fine here. You're running away. That's fine. Like there's no reason to engage anymore. But then this guy comes in. And now we're going to, if Leona's not here, you both don't have enough CC. He's not even level 6. He can't do anything. He can E them and maybe chunk them out a little bit. That's it. You don't have any kill threat here. So walking up and helping him do anything right now is just pointless. You should immediately just be spam pinging him like back ping, like get out here ping, right? But we don't follow up. He gets stunned. Like again, nothing's ever gonna happen here. And then we're still autoing. There's no reason because they want to back, right? Like at this point, they probably want to back and buy items. So we're not gaining anything from this, right? All we're doing is missing potentially XP and minions because they probably want to back. After they got that Leona kill, they're probably feeling pretty good. They want to base. They hadn't based yet, right? I'm pretty sure they hadn't. And then because we kind of helped follow him up and we didn't just immediately backping him, not only do then we get ganked, but then he ended up taxing our wave. And then we have to take I'm pretty sure we take like a pretty bad recall. Okay, now, so. And a lot of this hurts you just not having a support that's good, like support diff, but that doesn't mean we need to follow up on bad support plays, right? So just because, so she screws us here. I'm glad that you pinged her. I'm glad that you pinged her, but the damage was already done. But like that's a good ping there. So now that we're in base and we're buying items, we're still really weak, right? We're still down levels. We should be checking right now. We should be opening tab to see what the state of the game is. Like what lanes are winning. Just open tab, see like how strong everybody is. Is like our mid laner stronger than their mid laner? Is our jungler doing better than theirs? What level is Jin? Is he a level up on me? Like I can't remember. Zoe's level 5. And then this right here, I think this was another thing that I kind of wanted to talk about. So Zoe is pushing this wave, right? So she's gonna use another Q. So because of the lane right here, because of this cannon being lower than theirs, even though there's more melees, they have more range, which means they're gonna kill these melees faster because ranged minions do more damage even though they're not as tanky. This wave's gonna push towards us. You just had the opportunity to buy. You still have both your sums. Presumably, Leona is getting close to level 6. She's way up in XP than you, but she also probably has Ignite. At this stage of the game, for us to have any chance of winning an engagement with them, we want the lane here. We either want the lane here or we want to build a big wave that we can then push and base, right? So like that's what we want to do. But what happens is the first thing we do is start shoving this wave, right? This Leona is terrible, but like we also immediately W'd it, like we're pushing it too, right? And then why this is bad is now they're back in lane, and now we've shoved it to them. We finally have, we're pretty even with Jin, but like look where we pushed this wave. Look, oh my bad. So we're pushing this wave here. The odds of us killing either of them here, even with how bad they're playing it, is impossible. Look how close we are to the turret. If either of them just flash, they're safe, right? the chances of us killing them here is impossible. Very low unless they just completely just, you know, say, oh, I don't give a shit that you're pushing me out of lane. I'm just gonna fight you. And then we use our escape, our 22-second cooldown escape, to engage near their turret on kills that we're not gonna get. So even though it looks like Jin gets low, they have some still. It's just bad, but because we can't follow up, we can't do anything, right? So I think on a later fight we end up kind of dying because of it. But yeah, so good base here. I'm not too. I would say in retrospect, that base right there, we could have pushed another wave purely because we knew Jin had to base, right? Granted, I don't know what's going on because I can't see the mini map. Um, but if at any point in time we saw Yi topside and we know where Yasuo is, that wave we could have pushed. Even with the Zoe defending it, you know, with Leona, we just kind of ping the wave and we just push at least one more just to get some sort of, you know, XP lead over Jin before he gets back to lane. And then because we pushed it in that situation where we know for a fact he is basing, the wave is then going to bounce back and then we can slow push it the next time, right? So we can build up another wave because it's going to push back towards us, and then we can go ahead and Leona just stays. So she should be like roaming mid right now. She shouldn't be just sitting in the lane less hitting. There's no point in her being there. But we should have shoved the wave so that it would bounce back towards us. And then we're gonna come back here. And now the first thing we do, and again, this is like part Leona, we just immediately shove, right? So again, we're gonna be stuck in a situation where Leona can't do anything. She's going to feel compelled to because she's a Leona support. But we can't follow up. We're never going to get a kill on either of them because we're too close to their turret. And we're also playing into the fact that we have no vision on Zoe. So we never warded over this wall to get vision on her. And we know every single time she goes over that wall, she's going to be throwing E's from there, like blind E's. That if she hits any of them, then they can just all in us. So, and again, there we go. Like we're just not, we're playing into their hand essentially. And Leona's bad, so Leona's do it. But we're pushing the wave consistently. We didn't reset the wave. We didn't bounce the wave. We haven't slowed push a single wave this entire game to like build up a lot of minions that they have to deal with, so that we can safely recall, roam to dragon, do anything else. We're not getting any jungle ganks, so we need to essentially win our lane by controlling the waves really, really well. And we don't do that at all. And then because of that, now we're just going to get chunked out. And again, this is one of those emotional decisions, right? We got chunked out here, and then they ran this way, and now they're near their turret. And emotionally, we're like, oh well, like Leona keeps going in. I want to make this work. This is like a not even, I can't even say a low percentage play. This is like a 0% play. And again, we eat into it. So we used our escape tool to engage on a fight that we can't possibly win. And I feel like a lot of that, it's not necessarily, I don't think it's like a bad decision. I don't think you, I in a lot of these instances, I don't, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think you're making these decisions because you think this is the right decision. I think part of it is almost like a compulsion of, well, my support keeps going in. I kind of want to follow up on this play. Maybe it is you think this is a good decision, or you know, maybe it is that like emotional, kind of frustrated, emotional decision making, which I think is, you know, more universal among league players, of feeling like you have to force or make a play work, right? And then we're here, and it's, yeah, it's just, we're in such a bad spot. We also haven't used, I don't think we've used Ghost or Flash a single time this game. Um, and I know Diva does that a lot. He like won't use Flash in a lot of situations where Flash would save him, um, or even like where Flash would be like a playmaking move. But just remember, these do, like, they go on cooldown, they come back. You know, be you know, use them when you think something looks bad. And again, here he just pushed the wave. He just pushed the wave to us weekly. He wants to base. We are down a level. We need to get XP and then have a big wave to push so we can be safe doing it. The first thing we do is W the wave. He weakly pushed it. It didn't even get close to our turret, which means if we just keep these alive, we can build up a wave here. And then once he's back in lane, we have a big wave that now they can't trade with us. Zoe can't land ease because our minions will be in the wave because we have more minions. Um, so yeah, it's just like basic wave management that we're just throwing any potential regaining or creating a benefit out the window because the first thing we do is just shove because we think, oh well, he's based. But the thing is, like, we're not going to deny him anything. We can't even push fast enough to get it to him. Even if Leon is helping us, he's going to be back by the time we get it anywhere near his turret, right? And then also Zoe's going to be there to catch the wave, and then she chunks you out. Um, but imagine if we just built up a big wave here instead, right? So I do remember you specifically say here that you can't base right now, um, right? So again, I feel like I think there needs to be a little bit more patience on how we're like controlling waves, right? Because again, now this wave is in a position where if we were fighting them, Leona can't do anything. She can really only counter engage now. Like hopefully they engage on you and then she counters them, right? So we'd want to keep the wave here, slow push it so Leona has opportunities. If they're dumb enough to walk up, she can catch them, and it essentially enables her to actually do something in this lane. But I do remember listening to the audio here, and I'm pretty sure you say that you can't back in this position, but we did full reset the wave in their turret, so you don't end up basing here. But this is the first time in the game where well, not the first time, you've had multiple, but this is like the best time in the game for you to base. There's no punishment. You push the wave. You're chunked, so you can't do anything if a fight breaks out. But you also push the wave in. Like you W those last three minions that were dying, and it's not like Jin's gonna freeze a 12 minion wave in front of his turret. Like he can't tank it, so he's gonna be last hitting it and then resetting the wave. So that's your perfect time to bounce it back. And as you see, he didn't freeze it. He just immediately pushes it. So you could have based right there. If you based right there, you would be already essentially probably at this point like halfway back to the lane. And then you wouldn't even be here for this happening. You literally wouldn't even be here for this happening right now. And I know maybe you didn't have a good buy, but again, you could just grab like a coal or another, dagger, or a longsword. But you wouldn't even be here for this, like the shenanigans happening right now. You would have already been basing, right? And then because you weren't there, you end up now getting chunked out, and now you're gonna miss a ton of XP on your turret, right? Because you didn't base when you could have. You would have been getting to lane at full health if the E still ganked right when that E ganked, right? So, um, do you think there's like a couple things where we have like a little bit of emotional decision making happening? I'm really only gonna look. You end up winning this game, right? So I think I remember seeing it. So we're only gonna really watch for like a few more minutes. We open tab for like there we go. We open tab for the first time this game. I think this is the first time. 11, almost 12 minutes into the game. So now we know top's even. We know our jungler's doing better. He has a bounty. Our mid laner has a bounty and is doing pretty well, but he's also almost half the CS. And then we know Jin is almost completing his first item, and we're not even remotely close to completing one. So they're a lot stronger than we are, and we can essentially just never fight them. But granted, if we open this, unless our jungler's ganking, we can't fight them anymore ever. Um, but yeah, so this is like the 12 minutes in, we opened it for the first time. And there's so much useful information here. Like Jin has a bounty. Like you can ping his bounty. You can try to get your jungler to come. Every single time they blow a summoner, you should be opening this up and pinging it. Um, yeah, even pinging your allies summoners and stuff. But anyway, so we opened it for the first time at roughly 12 minutes. I mean, we could have known 6 minutes ago when he came back with a serrated Dirk and you were on just boots 2 that we probably weren't going to win many fights in terms of DPS, right? Especially with Zoe being like a strong champ in comparison to Leona in this lane being more oppressive. So And let's see. So good dodges. Trying to remember. I think so. Now we know our jungler's top, so we're not getting any jungle help, just like we haven't the entire day. But their jungler died, so now we know it's more or less a 2v2 unless Yasuo comes here. And at this point, like we don't really know. I mean, we know Zoe's still there at least, right? So, um, but yeah, I would say this is fine here. Just pushing the wave and you know walking away is fine. It's no big deal. Um, I would probably, I don't know if you, I can't tell because you have that little graphic on there, but I'm pretty sure you have a trinket up. So like that would have been a good time to maybe place a trinket. I would ping on the thing, like where you could have trinketed, but and at this point in the lane, lane's kind of over. But yeah, the only thing I think you just misplayed was giving Zoe too many free kind of ease over this wall and kind of pushing the wave in a position where Leona physically can't play her champion. And again, this right here is just not good, right? It's never the play. Like you should already be. Let me see if I can rewind it just briefly. Like honestly, like I almost think here you just hit these two minions and walk away because like Leona is such a liability. And again, I think this is like one of those emotional decision makings. She's literally going in with 50 HP and she's ignited. Like the fight is over before it even started. So you walking up at all is just giving them an opportunity. I'm actually surprised they ran away like they did because they did not need to. Obviously, we die here. It's fine. You know, Leona is just liability. So I think in terms of solo queue, don't be afraid at not following up on your teammates' bad plays. Play really selfishly. You should be thinking, what do I need in this moment? I need farm. I need items. Um, I need farm. I need items. I need levels. So anytime they do something dumb, you can just ignore it and just focus on last hitting minions, right? And then this is kind of like the last big point. And I remember watching this the first time around. And when you make this decision, I think it's after this turret dies. So it's going to be in a little bit here. But after this turret dies, you do something. And in my head, I was just thinking to myself, I mean, if anybody responds, he's dead. But it's going to be a little bit. So this is just, I don't actually know if we had wards again because I just can't see what's going on in the map because of the camera. Um, but yeah, this is just unfortunate. At this point, it's unfortunate. You can't even say it's bad. So this is though, you're not going to get this kill, right? Um, your opportunity to burst him would have been when he ran up here and he was like, your ult's up. If you just pop ult here and start trying to DPS him, that was like your best opportunity to kill him. But we don't pop ult, and then because we're getting a little frustrated with the lane, where we're desperately, even if you kill him here, there's no like there's no benefit because he doesn't even have a bounty on him. Jin's the only one in this lane, and I guess Zoe now has a bounty, but like this he hasn't been doing well. Um, but it's like one you had ult, so maybe just forgot. It's fine. But like as soon as and Leon is probably going to be mad about it. But as soon as you don't get the kill here, just don't chase. And again, it's like that consistently good decision making. Like just don't chase because we're probably going to lose the turret anyway. But you at least would have been alive to catch the XP from the minions after you lost the turret. Your life is always going to be more important than anything else. Um, so you don't need to kill him there to get back into the game. And again, you guys won this game. So And then this is going to be the last little thing. Um, and this goes back to the same kind of wave management thing. So he pushes this, kills this wave. He pushes this into us. What do you think you should do here? Should you hit this minion wave and immediately push it back? Or could you take a little bit of the free time and give yourself time to at least get your first item, let it push to a much safer position closer to your tier 2 turret, and slow push it back and build a big wave of your own? Building a big wave of your own is 100% the play. Like you should have let these minions get all the way over here, and you should be last hitting them. You should not be pushing them the way you are. And then because you're pushing them the way you are, Leona comes over here and she starts pushing them. But this is so bad for you. You should be pinging her to just go somewhere else. And again, she's still here. Like this, this is your time to just tell her go away. I think finally, no, that was her just saying enemy's missing. So we haven't even pinged her. And maybe this is because we think this is the right thing to do. This is not the right thing to do. He's going to come back with a full completed item. You have no tier 1. You have no savable vision on anybody right now. And we had the perfect opportunity to freeze this wave near our tier 2 turret and at least give ourselves like a full minute of farming and slow pushing. So the reason why this is so important is because our goal right now, we're having to pressure this turret with 4 minions, right? Which means somebody comes here and they just kill us. If 2 people come, we die. If 1 person comes, a lot of them, like if Yasuo just comes on his own, you probably die. Yi comes, you die. I think at this point, if Zoe comes, you probably, just on her own, you're going to be in a bad position because she can just run you down. You have no sums. We saw you use all of them, right? Um, so the way you pressure this turret is not by just immediately pushing blindly and trying to get the minions, any amount of minions to the turret ASAP while you're also with the minions. The thing you do is you build a big wave closer to your tier 2 turret, and then what happens is either somebody comes down, which is the wrong play of theirs, and overextends on our side of the map and tries to keep pushing, which means then they're vulnerable to our Mumu ganks, which Amumu's doing well. So that'd be a mistake by the enemy. Or they group around mid lane, and then you just ping your team to like concede a turret or concede the fight because you're not there, right? Those are like the 2 options if we freeze the wave. We get time to build up a big wave, and either the enemies come to our lane, which is the wrong decision on their part. They overextend, which means we get to get a gank by a Mumu maybe, or maybe Aatrox, or maybe Mord, or they group with their team during this downtime. And then what we do is we build up a big wave, and then we can stop hitting the wave. If we built up a big wave, we'd stop hitting the wave here. So imagine you have a huge wave behind you because it's like a minute past this. We have a huge wave here. We stop hitting the minions here, and that wave starts to push on its own because we built up such a big wave and overtake theirs. And then by the time it's hitting their turret, we've already based, bought, and grouped with our team. And then what's going to happen is we're walking out of the base, and either somebody comes and collects that wave and pushes it back, which means then we get to collect it again, or it means nobody collected it. They lose a ton of XP around the turret, and then we've already got all our money that we wanted, and we've grouped with our team. So that's like how wave management works at this stage of the game. Is you want to build up big waves so that you don't need to physically be at the turret pressuring it. A wave will pressure it, and that forces the enemy team to make decisions. So if nobody responds to it, then they just lose a lot of XP and they lose damage on a turret and they lose waves of minions. Or they respond to it, which means then you have a favorable numbered fight on the other side of the map. And then when that person, whoever collects it, maybe it's Jax, pushes it back, then you collect it around the tier 2 again. And that's how bouncing the waves at this stage of the game works. And that's how you're going to be able to farm safely. Versus what you do right now is you just kind of shove it and then you're here with the wave, which means anybody on the enemy team can kill you, right? So that's what we do. And again, this Leona should just be mid, and we should just be sitting last hitting, just last hitting, not hard shoving, just last hitting, building up a big wave of our own so that the wave itself can pressure this turret. But because we didn't do that, now we feel like we need to pressure this turret with ourselves and with Leona, and now you guys are just 2 free kills. Whereas it would have just been minions doing this. What we're doing right now could have just been a big wave of minions that we built up, that's crashing into this turret maybe a minute from now. But instead, it's now us